So I've been thinking a lot recently and hearing a lot about the gender pain gap and the fact that women are less likely to have their pain taken seriously by a medical profession. So things like endometriosis and polycystic ovaries, they can often take up to 10 years to be diagnosed. Can you think of any disease that affects a man that takes up to 10 years to be diagnosed? And also, women are 50% more likely to be misdiagnosed with coronary heart problems. And a recent study actually said that when a man and a woman go to a doctor for pain relief, women are actually more likely to be given sedatives and men are more likely to be given painkillers, because our pain is seen as us being overly sensitive or, and I hate the word, hysterical about our pain levels. So I think that's something that needs a lot more research.
Trying to fit in. They forget their original identity just to fit in, so that's one of the biggest challenge, losing yourself.
Regarding domestic abuse and fleeing to refuge, women are the ones that leave their home. Even when they've contacted the police, all the laws that have been passed through Parliament, we aren't seeing any impact whatsoever in a positive way for our families. Police are still no further actioning incidents. Perpetrators are very clever. They tend to leave or flee the scene once they've caused whatever mayhem they've decided to cause. And because of that, there's no further action, even though there may be other convictions. I think the children especially are impacted, which further impacts mums and their parenting. I mean, we run all our parenting courses on our AIM programme. However, mum guilt does not go away. And the fact that the perpetrator will do absolutely anything to try and contact, our jobs are harder because we've got to think about all technology that might have trackers on and things like that. Location settings, you can turn them off on one thing. However, you might forget on another. And then, you know, like families, women and children are tracked. I think it's really hard for women as well. There's not enough support within local authorities for women to start all over again. I think the universal, they've been the one that's had to leave everything. I think the universal credit system doesn't support women that have fled domestic abuse, because although they can apply for a domestic abuse easement for them not to go to work, yesterday I had a lady very upset stating that she'd been told that she would be sanctioned next month if she didn't work. You know, the women still face so many challenges. It's not a matter of leaving, I've kept my children safe. You've got your social services as well. Social services obviously are there to protect the children, but the fact that they're saying to mum, you know, if you return, you possibly could face your children being removed because they're putting the children at risk. But none of this is their fault.
I think as someone who's really interested in politics, I would say that, you know, for women that are aspiring to be MPs or local councillors, that actually it's a real uphill struggle. You know, because we've heard from some of the women MPs who say that it's really difficult to juggle childcare and those sorts of care and responsibilities with actually sitting in the House of Commons. And, you know, I don't think that's got any better over the years, really. But at a much local level as well, in terms of female councillors, then again, I think there's still some obstacles to them becoming powerful women around that table. And, you know, in 2024, we need to get over that.
Well, I think in theory, like in the workplace, we've got more equality.
even though there's still sort of challenges in the gender pay gap and like issues with pensions and stuff like that, which sort of is a challenge for women. But then while women are working now, we're also still expected to kind of keep up with the stereotypical roles of looking after the home and the family. And I think a lot of that household responsibility just naturally seems to fall towards women still.
What sort of challenges do you think there are?
I think within careers, I think women, we all have ambition. We all go on and do degrees, or we go to college, or we do apprenticeships. I think as you get older, a family comes along, and it is the woman who tends to be the caregiver of the children. They change their hours, they give up work. I think if you've got a child with additional needs, it tends to be women who are advocating for their child. A lot of people with children with additional needs end up giving up work, and I think it is always the woman. You're always seen as the one that has to be the person that's nurturing and the person that does everything. And I think men continue with their careers, whereas women are more home-based. And the one that does everything, even down to doing the shopping and paying the bills, that's just the gender role that still today in society, for lots of different ages, it's the woman that does that.
Women's sport is often in the shadows compared to the men's sport. Women's football is a great example of this. England women won the 2022 European Championships, and we've seen the game progress so far since then. But there are still many setbacks for these professionals. Male pundits who retire after a football career are highly respected by the media and fans. Female pundits who also retire after their football career are often faced with abuse and discriminatory comments by the media and their fans. Men are made for the game, whereas women shouldn't play due to them not being as athletic as men. All women in sport are an inspiration. Whether it be football or tennis, they are inspiring a next generation of young people who recognise passion and replicate it. All women don't have to be in a caring career. Women will continue to break down barriers against them.
The prevalence of sexual harassment for women is 3 times higher than men. It can happen anywhere, in the workplace, on public transport, in bars and clubs, especially like inappropriate touching. And often when women speak out or report it, they're often blamed for what has happened for them, towards them. So people might ask, oh, what were you wearing? You must have brought it on with how you were acting. So I think more protection needs to be put in place for women experiencing sexual harassment.